Yeah. Hi, everyone. And Middleburg is doing a fantastic job. And I sat there listening to your presentation, Theo, and so many things that you're doing are great. And I've certainly gone through with lots of notes. Just in terms of my presentation, I've done a chart at the back, a poster. When I looked at it this morning here, it would be very difficult for anybody to read. I stood about 3 feet away from it and couldn't read it. So that's why I've done a slideshow as well. So the quality of it is in terms of just doing it this morning, taking pictures of the actual content. So, so I'm driving it here. This is not comforting. Okay. I'm not going to go through the objectives in detail because what Theo did as well covers the objectives. Also, the Johannesburg Heritage Foundation definitions and articulation of heritage plaques is guided by the National Heritage Resources Act. So that means that it creates consistency in the country, okay? Have I switched it off? So to go back? That's to go back. Okay. Just a point to link to what Anele and Palesa said yesterday, and that's the point relating to fostering local pride. Later on, when I talk about the challenges and opportunities we've got for Johannesburg heritage in terms of blue plaques, is if you haven't got that foundational ownership and you haven't got local pride in your environment or the environment that you go to, it creates a problem in terms of looking after the plaques and respecting the plaques. So that's a very difficult thing to address in Johannesburg because we cover such a wide area. The population is not stable. So if we're putting a plaque up in Valley Road in Parktown, the people have lived there for many, many years. They self-nominate in terms of plaques, and there's a lot of ownership. If there's a little crack or something that appears in the plaque, they will contact us and say, it's not looking so good. We've installed approximately 400 plaques over the years in Johannesburg, covering a very, very wide area. So when something goes wrong, a plaque is vandalized or anything like that, it's a problem for us because we don't always know. So then it's a problem because it looks tatty. So fostering local pride is something that we would like to achieve as an objective as well, an outcome. Nomination selection is varied. The routes, and I think this Theo alluded to that as well, ideally is that you've got an individual that, or an organization that identifies a place that they would like to have a plaque, and the process would start from there. So when you've got individuals nominating, it means that they've got a lot of ownership. So that means the plaques are being well looked after, maintained. Where it's planted in a wall with plants going over it, they will trim it and everything like that. The other thing I must mention is in terms of the city of Johannesburg, Eric Itzken is really very highly knowledgeable, got great experience, and we work in partnership with the city of Johannesburg. So in terms of identifying, in terms of researching why we should put a plaque there, it's really wonderful to have that partnership because of the size of the area that we've got to cover. So we've got a committee of people who are looking after blue plaques and the project and the initiative of blue plaques. Very qualified, specialized people with wonderful knowledge. So it's not resting on just one or two people. We've got a formal process whereby they've got to complete an application for a blue plaque. We put the onus on the applicants to provide evidence of why we should put a blue plaque there. So the example of somebody's auntie's cousins, whatever, this helps with that because it forces the applicant to give us information as a starting point. We've also had instances very recently, for example, where an individual nominates, and we went to his house on a site visit, and it was too wonderful. He had architectural drawings, he had historic documents, he had done a lot of research, which gave us a foundation. And obviously there was tremendous ownership of getting this plaque. So, he's hucked us to get the plaque installed, which is great. Absolutely what happens is that a portion of the committee would go and do a site visit on where the blue plaque is proposed to go up. So this allows us to have a visual aspect, because sometimes the house started off being very historic. It was built in 1901 or whatever, but so much alteration has been done to the house, the present house, that it doesn't actually merit a blue plaque. So people applying for a blue plaque may do their own research, and a lot of it is information from family or friends, but we do a verification of what information they've given us. We do research as well, so that by the time the decision is made to award a plaque, research has been done to validate what information has been given to us. Wording and design is a very challenging point in the sense that we can only have a maximum of 75 words. That's what fits on in terms of consistency, in terms of legibility. So the family will send us what they believe should be on the plaque, because they're like really enthusiastic and everything, and it's 200 words. And we've got to then chop it down. So the ownership of the plaque and the development of the plaque and the content of the plaque is the responsibility of the Joburg Heritage Foundation. So there's lots of communication that goes on between the person and the foundation. But at the end of the day, we will not put up a plaque that hasn't gone through our process of standardization and identifying key aspects. So anybody reading that plaque in Johannesburg, walking around Johannesburg, seeing other plaques, gets that consistency. Production is a big challenge for us at the moment because of the expense. I'm going to show you the figures, and it's a bit embarrassing to show you these figures after what we hear that Middelburg is paying. But anyway, that's the route we're going, is to look at, we've got a fiberglass version and we've now got a concrete version. And trying to get something that's going to stay the course and that's going to look professional as well. Yeah, we try and do lots of installations on a day so that the gentleman, Donnie, that does the installation, so he's got a bakkie and he's got a generator and he's got a drill and he's got a helper, and it's a lovely situation where we all go with him, we put the plaques up. So obviously we want to keep costs down as far as that is concerned. Sometimes the requirements, so the Johannesburg Digital Dome, the planetarium, had the unveiling of the plaque, and they had it like a month or so after we installed. So we install it. The unveiling is something that is the responsibility of the person that owns the plaque. Just an example of the plaque we're considering now, which is the concrete plaque. And from a cost perspective, the fiberglass plaque costs us about 2,700 Rand. And then we actually charge around about 5,000 Rand for the plaque. The concrete plaque will cost us around about 1,000 Rand. And we will obviously charge more than that for the installation of it. Johannesburg City pays for 10 plaques. They fully sponsor per year. and we sponsor 5 plaques where we pay for it. Oh, a big learning for everybody. I don't know how Middelburg or anybody else does this. We get payments. You have to get payment, not proof of payment, actual payment, before you produce the plaque. We've had a situation where we've got such a commitment that we've gone ahead and produced the plaque, and now we're not getting the money. It's taking time. So anyway, that was a learning that we had. And then costs I've spoken about. Right, so just the challenges we've got. Another experience we've recently had is that because it was a combined family effort to put up a plaque, we dealt in good faith with a representative of the family in terms of the text and commitment to pay. And then right at number 99, we've produced the plaque, and I don't know, I was hucking him, but I was encouraging him quite strongly to pay us because the installation gate was getting closer. And what happened is he presented the plaque text to a family member who had not participated in the process. And all of a sudden, they wanted to have changes. And it was a big gedunte because the people that wanted the changes, the result has been that there's a possibility we won't be installing that plaque because it's a bit hectic. Deterioration and damage. We have plaques. Kathy, I don't know when plaques first started being installed, but it's maybe 15. Oh, with pleasure.
Sorry. I wanted to mention this because I'm glad Louise raises. 1986, there was a connection between the Simon van der Stel Foundation and the city of Johannesburg. When the city turned 100, they decided to put up blue plaques, and this was really the start of blue plaques. Put up blue plaques to commemorate the idea. I'm sorry, my back is to you three. The idea was to do 100 blue plaques for 100 buildings, 100 years. And this was done in both English and in Afrikaans. It was an amazing effort. And some of those plaques survived. Another effort then was around the Parktown and Westcliff Heritage in Dar, you will remember, at the time of the centenary of the Anglo-Boer War. So we got an Anglo-Boer War route. And at that stage, we were actually making ceramic plaques. So we've had a long, long history, and we still haven't got all the answers.
Thank you, Kathy. I just need to mention here, it's not in my presentation at all, but I'm so privileged to be part of Joburg Heritage because the knowledge in that operation is so awesome. Can you imagine having a Kathy and a Flo almost under one roof? Your research is happening in the email and on phone calls and chats in the corridor. It's just absolutely amazing. So also this room, all the knowledge that's here, if you could just put that into a bottle, it is just absolutely amazing. So we've got absolutely wonderful people there. And we try to also obviously give factual, verifiable information in everything we do. But a shortcut is the knowledge that we've got from people like Kathy and Flo. It's wonderful. They're going to start charging us one of these days. So, okay, there sits Di, who is responsible for the digitization. And just doing an amazing job. There are very few people working there. Most of us are volunteers. And Di's work is the foundation, especially for continuity, in terms of keeping records for what we've done, what we've got, and what is available in Johannesburg. So challenges there is budget for replacement. So we've got pride in what we do, and we've got these beautiful plaques, and then they get tatty, and because of the area that we cover, we don't know. So when we discover, and that's a challenge to find out where all the plaques are that are deteriorating. When we do that, it's difficult. We rely on people to give us information. Plaque should be highly visible. Johannesburg, that is becoming a problem. Recently, I was part of installing 5 plaques. 3 of those 5 plaques had been vandalized. And there's that push and pull between visibility and safety of the plaque. So, for example, the cathedral in Johannesburg, I think it's Christ the King Cathedral, and it has a wall around it, and the most foot traffic is around the outside of the church. And the priest said to us, he was adamant, he didn't want it there because of vandalization. So we put it up right inside the property. So if you want to see that, you're actually going to have to stand outside knowing there's a plaque and then have really good eyesight to read it. Another place was in Soweto, where we had a plaque that had been vandalized. Outside the school was a beautiful plinth that they'd built for a plaque. And you could see somebody had taken a chopper or axe or whatever to it. It was completely destroyed. So as we're installing the replacement, the headmaster comes out and says, please don't do it there because your cars are going to be around the corner and it's going to be destroyed and vandalized. So we put it up inside the school. The last thing I've got here is just in terms of the relationship with government or city, but not necessarily Joburg City Heritage Site. A process goes through where plaques are approved to put up plaques, and it's a done deed. They've given approval. We then produce the plaque, and for example, the Brixton Tower, we're ready to rock and roll and install, and now because there's changes in the staffing, it's not a priority anymore, so we haven't got approval. So I'm just saying these are some of the challenges and opportunities we've got. Right, that's it.